So last night, Phil and I recorded a video, and I said that evolution itself is evolving, and I didn't really get a chance to explain what the hell I meant by that, and so we ended up just, you know, starting the video over and posting a new one without that little tangent. And I wanted to try to explain what I mean by that evolution itself is evolving. Um, in the simplest sense, um, we could say that, for the most part, evolution prior to the emergence of human beings was basically Darwinian. Um, it was an unconscious process, and by unconscious, I mean um, still psychological, but just not yet aware of itself. Aware, but not aware of itself. Non-human animals are aware, they have feelings, but they're not aware that they have feelings. Um, so prior to the emergence of human beings, evolution was basically Darwinian. It was about natural selection, and the whole thing was relatively unconscious in the sense that I just described. But then, human beings appear on the scenes, and all of a sudden evolution starts to become aware of itself. And the process of evolution thereby evolves, and it becomes Lamarckian. Um, Characteristics learned by one generation can be passed on to the next generation on a cultural level of transmission. And so the whole thing starts speeding up, and progress increases exponentially. And so evolution evolves, and now that the process has begun speeding up exponentially, we can only wonder, what will the next evolution of evolution be? And I think to even begin to come to terms with that question, we have to ask, what is it that remains stable about evolution, even amidst the changing mechanism which drives evolution? And it's paradoxical, so bear with me now, because somehow the whole cosmos is one, it's whole, it's unified, but at the same time it's made of many components which, at least in time, appear to be fragmented. And that's the key. These fragments of what, from the perspective of eternity, is a unity, allow the process of evolution to progress. Because within each fragment is this desire, this longing for the union which each fragment knows exists in some as yet unrealized potential form, that being eternity. So in time, which is what evolution is about, the unfolding of this process through time, the fragments are driven, and by fragments I mean, prior to the formation of the first stars, we're talking about hydrogen and helium atoms. And then once planets emerge, we're talking about planets, and then life emerge, we're talking about single cells. And these fragments are somehow internally driven to increase their complexity, and so they diversify. But in diversifying, they collect themselves into these higher aggregates. Single cells become multicellular organisms, and multicellular organisms form societies. And so I think what's driving this evolutionary process is this internal propensity to unite, aka love. And that's what remains constant, is that there are these fragments which in time are compelled to develop in such a way that they become closer, they can embrace more fully each other in order to realize that which is always already so, which is the eternal unity, which was, you know, present before, after, and during this temporal process of evolution. But somehow there's this coexisting duality between the temporal evolutionary line of development and the eternal wholeness of the always already present cosmos. And so we can ask the question, for we persons, we human beings, we fragmented partial individuals, what is the final goal of evolution? And at least from Pierre Teilhard de Chardin's perspective, the destination, the goal, the aim of evolution is the realization of our unity. So all the fragments, after billions of years of rushing towards this culminating moment, will realize their essential unity. Each individual fragment, or at least what was a fragment, will realize its unity with the whole. And Teilhard calls this the omega point. And I highly recommend any and all of his books. This is The Vision of the Past. His master work, I guess you could say, is The Human Phenomenon. Teilhard was both a paleontologist and a Christian mystic. So you're getting in him a combination of mysticism and science. But we see here that the process of evolution is itself constantly transcending its prior state or its prior means of development, because there's this internal propensity to unite. So let me know what you think of this vision, and if you can sort of grok the intuition I'm trying to express, because I don't claim to have put the perfect words to this process, but somehow it seems to me at least to begin to get at the essence of this process of evolution, and what it's all about. So please give me some thoughts. Thanks.